We are approaching the 5th anniversary of Naraka, and so I thought, let's look at all of the changes Naraka had over the years. Specifically the patch note, because, like, honestly, they are the most interesting part about all of this. Unless you have a lot of money for the skins, we really only care about the patches. So join me in discovering which hero had the most changes, what weapon had the least changes and the shortest one, and should we nerf Naraka?
The name's Tarka G.
Just before we go, I have timestamps in the video, so if you just want to see the raw stats, skip to the end of the video, but if you want some explanation and a little storytelling, stay here. Before I reveal the numbers, to be honest, I exclude some of the stuff and it's really important to know what. First, no bug fixes, I only looked at the hero adjustment changes. And this is important because a lot of stuff actually changed with bug changes. There's also no shadow changes because I don't know all of them, so I have to exclude all of them. Secondly, quality of life changes. They're important sometimes, but when I'm not sure about them or if they're global changes, I gave them their own category, which will influence the stats a bit, but you will see that at the end of the video with all of the stats. Lastly, a character can only get a change after released. So Zenda, for example, was not released when we had the global ult changes, so she cannot benefit from that stat. This makes this a bit biased towards older characters, I know, but you have to take that. That's just the reality of balance changes and adding characters to a game over time. Lastly, I'm not gonna bore you and comment on every change. We'll go over the important ones. If you're really a nerd, I can also link you the doc in the description to go over, but let's just get started. First, let's just get it out of the room. The most changed character in Naraka history is Tarka G. Pretty obvious. An astounding 26 balance or kit changes over 5 years. That doesn't sound like much, but it's basically one every season on average. So his last change has been almost an entire year ago, so of Tarka. A second close one to Tarka is actually his love interest, Valda, with 24 changes, only falling slightly behind him. Rounding out our top 5 are Kurumi and Tianhai, both OG characters. We should expect them to be up here, and it's actually Wu-Chan. Now, Wu-Chan is old, but 21 changes to Wu-Chan, such an unassuming character, personally did not expect that. Going to the other side of changes, let's look at who's got the least ones. Now, Aragan is 0, she just released. Zenda with 4 also makes quite a lot of sense. Lani and Joan 1 both have 7 and Inor 8, which means he has gotten changed once every month for 10 months. Talk about a broken character. Oh, he's not alone with 8 changes, and I want you to try and guess which other character only has 8 as well. And no, it's not my YouTube channel, because you can make that subscriber number change a whole lot by pressing the subscribe button and leaving a like. Okay, let's reveal our mystery hero. It's Tessa. Yes, Tessa only has gotten 8 balance changes since the release over 1000 days ago. Way to make you feel fucking old. Holy f***, actually that long? Now, this was our hero segments, and before we go over the weapons, I want to touch up on a few characters which are currently in Inhibitor but haven't really gotten a patch in a while. The biggest offender to this is probably Viper. She has not gotten a patch since April of 2025. Yoto is another case where she just hasn't been changed close to a year, despite being quite oppressive in the pro play. On the flip side, we have Darko, who is falling on the wayside, as I said, having adjusted since July of 2025. I know this sounds insane considering he had the most changes in this game, but most of them were just in the earlier seasons and around this rework. Okay, let's move over to weapons, which vary way more than the heroes. First, you will see in the table later in the video that I have pushed melee and range weapons together. Secondly, and probably more importantly, I've left out all of the global changes for how weapons behave out of the first table, which I'll be talking about now. The second table also includes all of the generic moves added to the weapon. However, I did not include soldier changes that would be traumatic. Starting out with our melee weapons and who has gotten the most changes, we have at number 3, honestly surprised me, especially since it beat out the spear. Stuff was quite OP when it released and still has potential for some really cool combos and long carry sequences, so it makes sense. Number 2, our all-time favorite katana, which as an OG weapon kinda makes sense that it is here, but with the removal of Heaven's Step, makes a lot of sense to be this high. However, what surprised me is our number 1 greatsword being the most changed weapon. Because right now it's not really that relevant. Like, we have a few niche cases who's played, but overall not that much of an impressive weapon. You just change it to a pole sword. But if you're an OG, you just know how broken this weapon was. So it makes sense, it has gotten a lot of changes, even if not as of recently. Going to the other side, we obviously have the new weapons like Fist Blades with only 6 changes, Dual Halberds with 7 changes, but still crazy, Dual Halberds is not that young, and of course Whipsword with only 2 changes. All of that makes sense, the new weapons have less, the old weapons have more, but what surprised me, the weapon which has produced one of the most hype esports clips of all time, it has only gotten 3 changes, despite being out for almost 1,000 days. Man, this game is fucking old. Yeah, that's right. Our basically least changed weapon, if we exclude the Whipsword with 2, it's kinda new, is the fan. Now, this is where the global changes not being counted as a real change really is important. I do think fan would still be the bottom 3, even with them included. Maybe not with Whipsword. Going over to the range weapons, I'm just gonna show you all of them. Quite honestly, it's not that interesting, they just really haven't been changed a lot, which is surprising because we have Pistol, which is extremely overperforming, it's basically better than anything else for years now. And I'm sure we could easily make this weapon a lot weaker, that still would beat out a lot of them. But closely behind the Pistol we have bow and muskets with 4 changes. However, what gets interesting, especially for us trios players, is when we look at the cannon with only 1 small change, not even a single one for the Flamebringer. Now, Flamebringer is a bit special, but especially trios can be a potent weapon. Well, I kinda lied about the Flamebringer not having any changes, because we have to look at beta changes, both for heroes and for weapons. Now, in the beta we had some very important changes, like how the dagger behaves or the pistol, but also small changes like the Flamebringer is shooting out flames faster. Before we get to the table with all of the results, I want to go over some of the fun facts I've gotten while looking through all of the patches. First, let's look at the longest patch note the hero got, and this is just insane. The Taka changes really went crazy. And if you look at the smallest patch note side by side, it kinda fails in comparison. Like, look at how tiny it is compared to it. What the fuck? And with the same thing for weapons, with the Hangsword change just being an overall big balance change, while we have 2 tied for the shortest weapon changes with just like these tiny little paragraphs. Also looked at which patches has got the most reactions on the Steam page. Yes, you can comment on Steam if you didn't know. I didn't know that for the longest time. So the most comments on a single patch note were 172 on the patch from the 30th November 2022 when Clash League released. Remember Clash League? We all thought Chambers would be so important at the next big thing. Good old times. Flash, back to Q&A, and we find the least commented patches with the Naraka release, which kinda surprised me. Hero released no comments, but not that of an exciting character, and the player base at this point kinda low. The next patch ties us with only 5 comments. The next one also ties us with 5 comments, which is more justified since it, with 420 comments, this post has gotten the most comments out of all. It was released on the 22nd November of 2022, and Naraka posted a link to nominate them for the Labor of Love Award. I have my own opinions about that, but I mean, look at the comments, just asking them to fix teaming cheats and account farmers. All things have changed, am I right? Yeah, end of the video. Great, thank you for watching. If you want to see more of that, definitely subscribe, maybe leave a like, and perhaps comment what you want to see next. Soldier changes, bug fixes, maybe gameplay. I'm doing a gray everything only challenge right now, which is really fucking hard. So I have to take some time on that. Anyway, happy 5th anniversary to Naraka, and let's hope we can get the game going again. I really want to get more queues.